Spiritual Teaching 149. Love each other. 1. Here again is the Master who comes to give you his teaching through your consciousness. 2. My love becomes a word of light among men. In this time when the world needs the freedom of the Spirit to receive my lessons that show you the way of salvation. But I do not come at this time as a man. I come in spirit on each one of you, calling on all humanity to know the greatness of the spiritual teachings of the third era. It is my will to enlighten the spirit of the men of this age through the virtue of my disciples. Morality has fled from the hearts of men. Few are those who are preserved within my law, and few also those who know how to communicate with its Creator, for the perversity and spiritual ignorance that exists among humanity. 3. Nobody wait for me or look for me in the form of a man as I came in the second era, or look for me through the figures made by human hands. 4. The testimony of the third era will not be the only one that tells you about my love for humanity. It will be the deeds and words of all three eras in which the Father has manifested himself to man. 5. I have called initiates those who are beginning to penetrate the knowledge of my teachings. I came to reveal to them the reason for many events so that they may shape their thinking in reason and truth. 6. I come again to teach men, not to learn from men. In the second era they saw me converse in the temple of wisdom with princes and doctors whom I surprised with words that a man cannot say or understand. That happened in the childhood of Jesus. 7. When the moment of the preaching arrived, I went to the Jordan in search of the Baptist, who, when he looked at me, instantly acknowledged. The way in which John recognized me and the humility with which he adored his master are an example of spirituality, clairvoyance, and elevation. 8. Today I have returned to you and I have had to speak to you a lot to overcome materialism, doubt, and the coldness of your heart. 9. Here I am, disciples, teaching you to know the gifts of your spirit, to know ecstasy. Because in the ecstasy you hear the voice of consciousness. The impenetrable becomes transparent and darkness is illuminated. 10. This state of elevation cannot be the privilege of only some beings. It is a gift that is latent in every spirit. But it has always been a pleasure for me to serve since the beginning of those who have known how to make use of that grace. For ecstasy to be perfect, you must first go through the vigil, like the righteous of the first times. 11. Before beginning to preach the good news, Jesus taught you these lessons in the second era by withdrawing to the desert for 40 days to gather in solitude, meditate, and be comforted in the Most High. 12. Truly I tell you, in those hours of intimate communion, Jesus, the man, contemplated the symbol of sacrifice and its flesh shuddered. Heaven opened, and there he contemplated the end that awaited him. He saw the blackened mountain, and on top a cross where he was nailed. His ears heard the mockery of a people and the phrases that were addressed to him. You are the Son of God. Come down from the cross and save yourselves. He drained the cup of bitterness because he had to show you all the love in that test. It was his mission to trace the path for you and defeat you with the divine weapons of love, forgiveness, and humility. Those weapons are more powerful than any sword and are stronger than the raging waves of the sea. They have made you feel love to those who had never felt it. 13. After a while, humanity was defeated by my teaching of truth, love, and comfort. 14. I do not come to ask you to imitate me in all the path of sacrifice and blood that I traveled in the second era. Some you will fulfill a part, others will imitate the Master in some example, because there is only one Christ. 15. Prepare to imitate me, because you still don't know which part you have to imitate. But if you get to feel like Jesus, the words of the Gentiles and of unbelievers strike you like lashes on the naked flesh. Rise up in ecstasy to the Father as the Master taught you on the cross. and the force will be fully upon your spirit, who will make the matter his, and when you open your eyes, you will contemplate as Jesus in the desert, that after the ecstasy, while the sun scorched the rocks and sand, fresh drops of dew brought by the breeze caressing his forehead and mitigating his grief. 16. Jesus, the just one among the just, in whom the divine spirit was hidden, before making known the kingdom of love. He thus prepared to give you one more example of humility and perfection. And you, who are the disciples in the third era, you have heard that my word has told you, come to me and be the good sowers of my word, because the world has lost his spiritual path. 17. I have reminded you of the teachings of the second era so that you can join them to my new lessons and with them illuminate humanity, O workers of the third era. 18. Feel my presence that illuminates your spirit and prepares yourself to understand my message of peace. 19. Forget your suffering so that you may receive my word and its essence may stay in your heart. 20. I have sent you once more to earth to continue your mission, to recognize that your spirit has to go through a scale of improvement and that depending on your merits, you will achieve greater elevation. You will have a single master. A single light will guide you and always point out the path of your evolution. You can all climb if you fulfill your mission. It has been a long time since you started the journey, and there is farther to go now that you have risen. I have come to give you encouragement by making you see from this world in which you live today, the spiritual life from other worlds. 21. If you manage to penetrate the life of all beings, you can see it seeded with many benefits and proofs of love. In me you will find the best friend, the inseparable companion, and the divine doctor. In this time when I pour out on every one of my children my loving protection, you will participate in all these gifts, because you were formed in my likeness. 22. You have forgotten yourself for a long time, the ties that bind you to me, your nature that is similar to mine, and that is why you have descended and lost the way. The spiritual path is infinite, and I come to show it to you from the beginning. If you are not inside it, come and I will help you to go through it, to make up for lost time. 23. That the world does not enslave you. Dedicate a part of your time to the preparation and enfolding of your spirit. 24. Many of your brothers are in great distress. They are close to you, and you have not noticed it. You do not yet know how to penetrate hearts, but I am pleased to see you practicing my teaching, and it is more pleasing to contemplate those who pour out their spirit loving and comforting, than those who only dedicate themselves to the study of my word and forget their duties to his brothers. 25. Work so that you have peace. Fight intensely at this time so that you leave an example of work, obedience, and faith. 26. I come to you to make myself recognized as the only God, Father of all beings, to tell you what I want to do. So in each one of you I made a disciple and heir of mine. From my teaching, which is like a stout tree, I will give you a seed so that you can cultivate it and take it to different places, so that humanity can feed on its fruits. 27. Any misinterpretation that has been made of my word or my works, I will correct it because I want to unify your knowledge so that everyone loves me in the same way. Watch over the world and let your spirit carry light and peace to humanity. And may the world be illuminated with the sheer light that radiates from my spirit. Light is progress, love is redemption, and peace is hope. Love is from the heart, peace is from the spirit, and both are a reflection of eternity. 28. I contemplate that before my sweet word of teacher, some of my children feel jaded. It's because your senses don't feed on my word. Their thoughts are occupied with material concerns, and therefore, at the end of listening to me, carry an empty heart. But I insist on approaching my children to make their hearts beat with my divine teaching. 29. Humanity, You awaken your faculties to know human science and put them to sleep when studying the divine essence. You go weary along the thorn-strewn paths, seeking the goal of your human knowledge. Moreover, among the lost I will select my servants and make their hearts vibrate with love for their brothers. 30. If men do not care about their spiritual advancement, I watch over all spirits. If they don't listen to the voice of your consciousness, which is my own voice, will not have communication with my divinity. 31. This humanity, due to its materialism, is still idolatrous, but in truth, the false gods will fall down. Where is Solomon's temple? Where is the tabernacle? If the symbols that were lawful I made them disappear, how can I not fight to exterminate fanatical cults? Solomon built a material temple to worship me, and of it not a single stone upon stone was left. 32. The ministers of these times dress regally to symbolically officiate the sacrifice of Jesus, and despite that take my name and my representation. I discover his troubled mind, his heart whipped by the gales of intrigue and passions. There is not one who, as a prophet, announces that I am among the men of this time. Great bitterness they will have, because there is no spiritual preparation among them. Where is the fulfillment of those who have sworn before me to follow my footprint? Where are the imitators of my apostles? Are there any who resemble John, who was one of the first, or Peter? What happened to the second? 33. That is why I am approaching you again to resume my lesson. I see the new Pharisees and scribes fills himself full of hatred against me. Then it will be when I ask, where are my disciples? And when the proud, the false, the rich who fear losing their power, those threatened by my truth mock me and chase again, hurricane winds will blow. But I will not be the one who falls under the weight of the cross, but those who asked for the sacrifice for him who gave them life. 34. It is not the human voice that you are hearing in these moments. It is the heavenly voice that announces the events that are to be, so that you who heard my prophecies, find yourselves ready and do not be disturbed when you see that the same forces of nature feel imbalanced, because I am the universal force in justice, and in justice I will manifest. 35. I have come to put aside the vices of the world so that men, freeing themselves from sinful customs and ideas, may breathe in and speak of the Spirit. Then you will see me symbolized in the sweet silhouette of Jesus, showing you the path that leads to the true goal of the Spirit, where I wait for you. 36. You are guardians of the Third Testament. Guard this legacy with great zeal to future generations. Show my works with the perfection that they have, because if you come to me without having fulfilled your mission, you will have to reincarnate again, and then your fight will be harder. 37. You imitate Moses at this time, in this desert of human life. Truly I say to you, be once more in the mountain, because there my voice will resound. Understand me. The mountain of this time is your elevation, where you will receive my command and you will hear my voice in your consciousness. From there you will be able to see the promised land that is in the perfection of the Spirit. 38. Divine law never passes. Human laws do change according to the spiritual evolution of men. 39. You shall love God with all your heart and with all your spirit, is the first precept of the divine law, which has not changed nor switched to. Its essence, its meaning, its doctrine are eternal. But you also heard that it was said to you, you shall love your neighbor and you will hate your enemy. But that was not a precept of divine law, but one of many human laws, that thus it was convenient at that time. 40. I came among you through Jesus, and I said to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who abuse and persecute you, so that you may be recognized as children of your own Father who is in heaven. This is spiritual law, therefore eternal. It will not undergo any change. Only the human is what changes, evolves, and transforms. 41. What can you do to find out which are the signs, revelations, prophecies, and laws whose application has already passed, and which are they still to come? What revelations are eternal and what prophecies have not been fulfilled? I tell you the truth, that only clean prayer and a fruitful life can give you enough spirituality to find the divine essence I have given you in the 3 areas. 42. When the scribes and Pharisees looked at Jesus' acts and found them to differ from their own, they said that the doctrine he preached was against the law of Moses. It is that they were confusing the law with the traditions. But I proved to them that I had not come to transgress the law that the Father had revealed to Moses, but to give him compliance with words and deeds. 43. Certainly I passed over many of the traditions of that people, because the time had come for them to disappear, to start a new time, with higher teachings. 44. If in the first revelations I had told you everything, there would have been no need for the Master, the Messiah. I would have no need to teach new lessons, nor that the Holy Spirit had to come at this time to show you the greatness of spiritual life. Therefore I tell you, do not cling to what was revealed to you in the early days, as if it had been the last word of my doctrine. I came again among men, and for a long time I have communicated through your understanding, and I can still tell you that my last word is unspoken. 45. Always look in my book of wisdom, the last word, the new page that reveals the meaning, the content of the above, so that you may truly be my disciples. 46. Today you live far from those who suffer more than you. But when spirituality is the one that illuminates your life, then you will seek to live close to those from whom you are estranged today, because you believe them lost, or because they inspire you with disgust. 47. You will become bearers of the word of light, of redemption and hope, and you will approach those who they have been forgotten by their kindred. 48. You will not speak harshly to anyone, because that is not how it is redeemed. You will learn that the sinner is not insulted to punish his fault. 49. I tell you that if beasts are spoken with love, they will humble their heads. 50. If the one to whom you speak has some merits, tell him. If in him you find some virtue among many defects, do not speak to him about defects, but about virtue, to stimulate him and drive him towards good. 51. Let love guide you, so that you can become true messengers of the divine Comforter. Because you, those who have not rolled into an abyss, are always blaming. You are judging lightly. You condemn your fellow men without the slightest mercy, and that is not my doctrine. 52. If before judging, you did a study of yourselves and your defects, I assure you that your judgment would be more merciful. You consider those who are in prisons bad, and you consider those unfortunate who are found in hospitals. You turn away from them, without realizing that they are worthy to enter the kingdom of my love. You don't want to think that they too have the right to receive the rays of the sun, which was made to give life and warmth to all creatures, without exception. 53. These beings secluded in places of expiation, many are mirrors in which humanity does not want to look, because it knows that the image in that mirror returns to them, will on many occasions be that of the prosecution. 54. But I say to you, blessed are those of my workers who know how to feel in their hearts the pain of those who live deprived of freedom or health, and visit and comfort them, because one day they will meet again, be it in this or another life. And then you do not know if they have more health, greater freedom and light than those who they took the message of love to a prison or a hospital, and then they returned their gratitude, tending the hand to whom once he knew how to extend it. 55. That moment when you made my word reach his heart, that moment when you passed your hand on their forehead and made them think of me and feel me, it will never be erased from their spirit, as it will not be erased from their mind or your face or your brother's voice, so they will recognize you wherever they find you. 56. Here, listening to my word, you forget for a moment the pains that afflict all men, and you remove from your mind the ideas of destruction, war, and death that threaten humanity. 57. Are you afraid of pain? Cast off sin, and pain can do nothing against you. You will feel another pain, but no longer will it be selfish pain. It will not be yours, but you will begin to suffer for love of others. 58. The Spirit, when it rises, feels for its companions, and while the closer he gets to me and the more he loves me, the greater is his love for his brothers. 59. I am teaching you to walk the path that will free you from the anguish and suffering caused by hatreds and human ambitions, teachings you may think are impractical for a moment, but you will soon embrace with faith, convinced that it is the only way of salvation. 60. You have not yet understood the meaning of my word, nor do you realize your mission. That is why there are those feeling spiritual delight in listening to me. She prefers to walk away for fear of making compromises with her master and her brothers. And there are others who tell me, Lord, it is not possible that we can fulfill your teachings and your orders, because we are small and we are materialized. But do not deprive us of hearing your word. It is so beautiful. Despite being impractical, it fills our hearts with joy and peace. 61. Toddlers who don't know what you're saying. You call my teaching impracticable, judging it impossible to carry out, and take into account that you are listening to it through an impure human being, a sinner like all of you, who thought it was impossible to transmit God's message to men. 62. What is more impossible than this? 63. Love your father. Have charity for your fellow men. Separate yourselves from everything that is harmful to your life, flesh or spirit. This teaches you my doctrine. Where do you see the difficulties and the impossible? 64. No, beloved people, it is not impossible to keep my word. It is not difficult, but your amendment, regeneration, and spirituality, because you lack noble sentiments and high aspirations. But, as I know that all your doubts, ignorance, and indecision will have to disappear, I will continue teaching you, because for me, nothing is impossible. I can turn stones into the bread of eternal life, and I can make crystal water flow from the rocks. 65. Go to the bottom of my word, and you will no longer have to search for the truth. In the essence of this message, you will find the flow of light that your spirit needs to possess. 66. Analyze my word so that you can feed yourself with its essence, so that you can find my presence and feel my divine caress. When analyzing, try to go beyond the form of the word and try to interpret whatever you find of symbolic or allegorical, seeking simplification and spirituality in your analyses, observations, and studies. Thinking provided that tomorrow you will have to share this message with your brothers, to whom you will give it already analyzed, so that sooner they understand it. 67. Put aside every symbol and every material image in time, but keep their meaning. 68. Understand the little value of forms, if you compare them with the eternal essence of the spiritual, to try to penetrate little by little in this wisdom, so that the practice of my lessons does not seem impossible to you. 69. Come together, beloved disciples, that the time of your struggle has come, and it will be short for each one of you. If you take into account the shortness of your life on earth. 70. Hurry, you have a lot to do. Do not think that you lack something to be able to be my disciples in this work. 71. In the second era I also chose my apostles. They were not wise, they were not luminous in human wisdom. They were simple fishermen of the sea. I made them sowers and fishermen of the Spirit. 72. I also want you to become spiritual fishermen, so that you can take my message of love to all hearts lost in the wide sea of passions and materialism in which humanity lives. And from there, from that sea, select and save everyone who is called by you in my name. 73. Then my message of hope will reach the heart of the fratricide, the murderer, the proud, the profane, the insensitive to the pain and misery of others, and in all, my word will be fulfilled. 74. For now, and while you prepare, pray for nations and peoples, pray for all, because humanity is stepping on thistles and thorns, the same for others to tread. It is the men who have prepared their abyss, and then they will have to cry out for mercy, which they never felt for a brother. 75. But it is necessary to say, forgive and redeem, because in each man dwells a spirit that will come to me. 74. For now, and while you prepare, pray for nations and peoples, pray for all, because humanity is stepping on thistles and thorns, the same for others to tread. It is the men who have prepared their abyss, and then they will have to cry out for mercy, which they never felt for a brother. 75. But it is necessary to say, forgive and redeem, because in each man dwells a spirit that will come to me. 75. But it is necessary to say, forgive and redeem, because in each man dwells a spirit that will come to me. 76. You are the first fruits of a people that will be the spiritual beacon of humanity, a new Israel that, once freed from its captivity, will rise up in pursuit of the highest ideal that exists in the Spirit, and that is to come to inhabit the bosom of God, your Lord. 77. You are still far from being able to illuminate the path of your brothers with your example. But my voice echoing in your conscience encourages you to continue, not to lose heart, to persevere in the fight, because only in this way will this people write their history in the heart of humanity. 78. The tests that you see presented in your life daily are the anvil where your spirit is being tempered, where your virtue will be refined and your faith will be strengthened. 79. Without evidence there will be no merits. Without merits there can be no reward. 80. Meditate on the trials that Israel went through in the first era. Consider their bitterness, their tribulations and needs, and then you will understand why it was granted to him to reach the promised land, where for many centuries that people knew of peace, health, joy, and communion with their Lord. 81. The happiness of that people on earth that was awarded as a reward for their faith and perseverance was not eternal, because nothing is eternal in the world. But I tell you, in truth, that the new promised land, that which is the ideal of elevation of your spirit, yes, that will be eternal, that will give you shelter forever and will make you feel and know the spiritual life in all its fullness and elevation. 82. I bless each of these houses where you gather to pray and receive the bread of my word, just as I bless your homes. Truly I tell you, not more for any of these enclosures than one of your homes. 83. If you enter here in meditation and in respect, because you know that the place is destined to unite in prayer to form the spiritual temple, I also tell you that your home is a second temple, because if the Spirit forms its sanctuary in prayer, in the divine word, in meditation and in the practice of the law, man finds a second worship in the home, where he receives affection, warmth, examples, teachings, and advice. But do not confuse the home with the material house. This may disappear and you will be out in the open, and yet your home will not have been destroyed as long as it exists among you love, respect, obedience, and all those virtues that the human family must treasure. 84. Neither these enclosures can constitute the true temple, since if you carry it in your spirit, the same you can find here that at home, in the city than in the country, under a tree, in the mountains, on the seashore, or in the desert. 85. The temple of the Spirit is everywhere, so you only need your preparation for you to find it. 86. 86. For now, keep gathering in these places. As long as you need it, do it. My love, my charity, and my pleasures will be poured out in your meetings, where I will allow my presence to be felt, where I will make the spirits reborn in the light and the sick feel the prodigy of their healing listening to my word. 87. My arcanum is always ready to pour into you what you ask for, what you need. However, not everything your Father must do. You are living a time in which my love as Master must find an echo in the heart of the disciples for the miracle to take place. 88. Be tireless reviewing my word. She, like an invisible chisel, will be in charge of polishing the rough edges of your character until you are prepared to deal with the most delicate problems of your brothers. In them you will find penalty, expiation, and restitution, whose causes can be very diverse. Some will not have a very difficult time to understand. On the other hand, there will be others that only with intuition, with revelation, and with clairvoyance you will be able to discover, to free your brothers from a heavy burden. These gifts will only do these wonders when the one who puts them in practice has been inspired by charity towards their fellow men. My peace be with you.